गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः.
ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದತ್ತ ಮಾಲಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂಫಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸೈಯದ್ ಲ್ಯಾಕತ್ ಪೀರಾನ್ ಅವರ ಅನುಭವದ ನುಡಿಗಳ ಮುಂದುವರೆದ ಭಾಗ. ಇವರೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಜಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಿಂಗ್.
कदम बढ़ा ले हदों को मिटा ले आजा खाली पल में पीका घर तेरा तेरे बिन खाली आजा खाली पल में तेरे बिन खाली आजा.
A number of Sufi saints all over the world have been great poets also. Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi or Hafiz or Rabia ji or so many of them. Could you recite for us some of any Sufi saints, some couplets or some lines, and then explain
I have
what
with
they are?
me here some of the very important poems written by penned down by Jalaluddin Rumi.
Rumi, okay.
The aspect pertaining to creation,
Okay.
and the God being a hidden treasure, and God having come and hidden himself in the heart of
some
man.
example you can
that
give.
he has brought out in a beautiful poem, in English poem, which if you permit me I will read out,
Please.
because I can't offhand read this.
No,
So it has been translated by Kabir Hilmiski, and it has been brought out in a beautiful work in selection of Sufi poetry by Sadia Delvi.
Ji, Sadia
So
Delvi.
I will read out because this poem embodies the thought, Sufi thought as
Very
well.
good, very good. That's what we want.
Lord, said David, since you do not need us, why did you create these two worlds? Reality replied, O prisoner of time, I was a secret treasure of kindness and generosity, and I wish this treasure to be known. So I created a mirror, its shining face, the heart, its darkened back, the world. The back would please you if you have never seen the face. Has anyone ever produced a mirror out of mud and straw? Yet clean away the mud and straw, and a mirror might be revealed.
Right.
Until the juice ferments a while in the cask, it isn't wine. If you wish your heart to be bright, you must do a little work. My king, address the souls of my flesh. That is, the Lord address the souls of the flesh. You return just as you left. As I mentioned to you that you should return in a purified state, the Lord also mentions to this person who is yelling and lamenting on his condition. My king, address the soul of my flesh. You return just as you left. Where are the traces of my gifts?
Wow.
We know that alchemy transforms copper into gold. The sun does not want a crown or robe from God's grace. He is a hat to 100 bald men, a covering for 10 who were naked. Jesus sat humbly on the back of an ass, my child. How could a zephyr ride an ass? Spirit, find your way in seeking lowness like a stream. Reason, tread the path of selflessness into eternity. Remember God so much that you are forgotten. Let the caller and the call disappear. Be lost in the call.
Wow.
It embodies the entire philosophy of Sufism. That you should remove your ahankara. You should forget all about yourself. You should get merged in the Lord, so that the light of the Lord in the heart completely emanates from your mind, heart and everything, and you become part and parcel of the Lord. Your hand becomes Lord, your eyes becomes Lord, you speak through the Lord's tongue. So there is a prophet's saying that if you worship God single-minded devotion, without any wavering, without any fault, with all humility and sublimity, God will come transcend down in your heart and mind, and your hand will become God, your tongue will become God, your eyes will become God, and whatever you utter, God will accept.
Now,
I can even tell you one thing. I mentioned to you that Sufi is a Ibn al-Waqt. So when you go back to the poetry of Umar Khayyam, you always people think Umar Khayyam is writing on bohemian wine and women and all that.
Not at all.
But actually they are metaphors.
Yes, yes.
Wine refers to the intoxication you have with your
God's
master,
love.
in the company of your master, love of master.
Love of God.
So the famous couplet, the Rubai which he wrote was, Ah beloved, fill the cup that clears. Cup is cup of life.
Right.
Of past regrets and future fears. Unborn tomorrow, dead yesterday. Why fret about them when today be sweet?
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
This is what Umar Khayyam's poetry encapsulates. That he reminds man that you should get intoxicated with the love of the Lord. That is more important than the boastful living or bashness in life, and all about the pleasures of the flesh, the desires of the heart and mind. They are temporal, they will wane away, they will go away, but only the love will sustain, will remain forever.
ನಿನ್ನೆಡೆಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಸಿಂಗರದ ಹೊರೆಯೇಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೆಡೆಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಸಿಂಗರದ ಹೊರೆಯೇಕೆ ಸಡಗರದ ಮಾತುಗಳ ಬಿಂಕವೇಕೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿರುವಾಗ ಮಂತ್ರಗಳ ಮರೆಯೇಕೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿರುವಾಗ ಮಂತ್ರಗಳ ಮರೆಯೇಕೆ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯದ ಮರುಳು ಲಜ್ಜೆಯೇಕೆ ನಿನ್ನೆಡೆಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಸಿಂಗರದ ಹೊರೆಯೇಕೆ.
I find a lot of similarity in the ways things are said by Sufi poets and some of the Zen masters and some of the Buddhist text also, where again Buddhist is slightly different because they are not that love aspect for God is slightly different there, but this giving away, melting away of your ego and merging in the ultimate truth, the reality. Say a lot of similarity in the expression of Zen and Sufism. Would you say that it is so? Or?
No, you see, as I mentioned to you, the main purpose of life is to find out the origin from where the man has come.
Right.
Man has always been inquisitive. He's been thoughtful. He is always trying to discover his own self and put the question, where is my end? Where am I going to live? Where am I going? Where am I going to join? Just as the sea has, the rivers have left their places, it searches for joining the sea. It would be interesting for you to know, when Siddhartha was born, the astrologers told his father that don't show any dead person to him. The misery should not touch his heart and mind. He got married, Rahul was born, but nature had his own way.
And he went.
No, he didn't go. He saw a dead person. He asked,
No, finally
what
he
is
did.
this? What is this dead person? He saw an old man. He said, what is this old age? His mind had thousands of questions. And what is all this? Then he said, I should inquire. Then he went with his friend and he sat down in the tree and kept asking. He went down deep into his heart and mind. And he realized it is all the desires and attachment to these desires, which is the sole cause of misery. So he pronounced the gospel of Gautam.
Dhamma.
He became Buddha, the Gautam Buddha, the eightfold path. When he was asked, is any God is existent, he said, don't worry about God.
You let us live. We are now living. So
right
let's live it.
thinking, right talk,
Right,
right
yeah.
living. All these are 8 rights which
ji.
he mentioned.
Ji.
Because he realized that the man has got within him the evil nature and the goodness. It is
Both.
the everlasting goodness which will rescue the man from his eternal
its
doom,
eternal
the damnation. So the same thought persists in Zen also. The same thought persists in,
It has to. You
in
very rightly put
Sufism
it that
also.
since the purpose of life is same, the
Same.
search also,
Search is
and
the
the
same.
expression will have to be same. Maybe some vested interest create walls and create.
And that is why the
weapons.
philosophy of devil has come. It would be interesting at this stage to speak about this Satan. Satan is supposed to be the leader of all the angels that had been created by the Lord. And he is supposed to have done worship of this Lord, singular Lord, for millions of years. But when God decided that I want to create a representative on the earth in the form of man, a jealousy cropped up. So, and he said, I will not bow down before this. When God commanded all the agents, I am created by fire and he has been created by clay. And I am not going to bow down before clay. And he was banished. But at the time when he was banished, he took permission from the Lord, I will distract man from your path. He will not come back to you. But at the same time, he made a profound prophecy he gave. O Lord, I will not be able to distract a most humble and a submissive person to you. I will not go near him. So it follows that humility is the first lesson
in
of wisdom.
all religions.
It's the first lesson of wisdom. Even you have no religion. Even if you are a person without any thought of
that
God.
is there. But what I'm
The
saying
human
that
nature demands that one
Yes.
should give up his arrogance and anger and jealousy and lust.
No, very simply, you are bringing out really the conversion points.
Yes.
The conversion point, sameness of as they say, the essential unity of all the religions and all the paths. But
Yes.
there are, of course, different ways in expressing in all that. But then let us also know from you, what are the points of departure from Islam as such, if there are some?
I would
In
be
we
able
like
to
say.
explain to you this.
In brief, we would like to say what are and why Sufis? I'm such a, as you have been telling us repeatedly, the emphasis on love so much, emphasis on humility. Such people are also being persecuted. I mean, it beats our understanding. So why that? What is the point of departure, and why these people were also?
See, it is like this. Continuing with the story of creation, when God expressed his desire to the angels that I am going to create the man, the angels is supposed to have got perceived that this man who is going to be his representative on the earth will create dissensions, will fight, will quarrel, will set up avatars, will set up many gods against God himself, and they'll fight against God. They will create all such things which will bring doom to him. The God said, I know better than what you do. So he taught all his secret names to Adam. But the angels were not given all the names, all the secrets of the existence, secrets of the Lord. So these secrets, which was passed on to the Adam, were held in secret, but his own descendants took these secrets of Adam, the names, created other creatures. So the Saturn was very much there. The legend goes, the biblical story goes that Saturn was to distract man from the way of God, from the love of the God. So he created all these devilish things in the world so that man can fight against man, and the prophecy which the angels gave come true. So the reason as to why there is so much of dissension is because of the nature of man itself in his mind. But scientifically, if you want to see, anthropologically, without the thought of God being brought in, you would notice that the Charles Darwin had laid down the theory of evolution. We all know that we resemble the apes and monkeys, and the evolution theory is man has evolved from apes. So the earliest stage of man has been that he has been the fire age, Stone Age, first is Stone Age, Fire Age, then he has the Copper Age, Iron Age, and slowly the intellectual capacities of man has grown. So the man, first and foremost thing, as an animal instinct in man, the animal consciousness in man,
It is still there.
continues to remain in him. The ancient man continues. What is that ancient man? It is first to safeguard his mate. That is the nature of animals. They safeguard their mates. They don't allow another lion to come near their mate. Any other animal does not allow the mate. They have their territory. So they want to safeguard their person. They want to safeguard their mate. They want to safeguard their possessions.
But my question was, what are the points of departure between Islam and Sufism?
So Islam,
and why Sufis were being persecuted?
Islam is the earliest
there are any
religions.
points,
You can give whatever name to it. In Arabic, it was called submission to the Lord, love. So
But
the
it is
first
all
religion
over
is
world
that
is
what
called
is the
Islam.
purpose for which man was created was for obedience. That is the Islam.
Right.
So as I mentioned to you, when the devil took jealousy against man, he thought that he could create impediments in the path of the Lord.
No, is
So
that
he
the reason
created
why-
contrast. He created contrast. The negative nature of man created contrast. So these contrasts kept developing into various cults, various castes, various religions, various the theories. So Islam is only asking man to return to the Lord. It could be in the form of Christianity, it
no,
could be in the
my
form of Judaism. It is all a call from the God. It's a call from the unknown. It is for the search from within. It says only go back to the Lord. Give up all these distractions which are there around you. So the distractions are the many. So it could be when you talk that people who want to understand God may have their own setup of understanding. So they create one philosophy, another create another philosophy. So but the call from the Lord alone is different. So in Islam also various sects came. Hundreds of sects have come. One after the other, one after the other. So it is not as though the Sufism stands on purity. But there are so many Sufis who have also fallen in the trap. There are very few who have remained. Even in the Sufis, there are 110 cults. So the cult which is very close to the Lord and his book and prophet, they are considered as the true Sufis. The rest are considered as heretics.
Oh, right. So
They are
that
considered
is
as
the-
heretics.
that could be one reasons for the persecution.
Persecution is these Puritans, whether in the form of the true Sufis or in the form of the Salafis who are there.
Whatever.
They do not want the Islamic law to be corrupted by thoughts which are there in the other philosophies. They want to keep it pure.
Yeah, tell us that the Sufi saints, particular followers, of course, always are all types of people, but the Sufi saints, were they all saints in the sense that ascetics who never married and stayed a very, very frugal, simple life, deliberately a life of poverty? All of them were like that, or they were worldly people also who achieved a high states of spiritual purity as per the path of the Sufis.
The first person who enters the path and takes oath of allegiance from the master, Sufi master, is considered as a Salik.
Ji.
He is not called a Sufi. He is called a Salik. Or he is called a Murid. One who has the aspiration to reach the highest pinnacle in the path of the tariqat. Reaches the Marifat al-Ali and reaches the source in his heart, sees the effulgence of Lord in his heart and mind. He is not called a saint.
Right.
So there are so many stages in which he has to pass through.
Those 6 stages, tell us a little bit about
So
those
first
stages.
stage is,
and also this question can
which is
also be
purely I can explain from the Quranic point of view, without deviation from the paths and other things which have been described by great Sufis in their works. As I had mentioned that man as a product of evolution, he has in his mind and heart the animal consciousness. This Quran refers to as nafse amara. So it says this nafs, the animal consciousness, will distract you from the way of Lord, will take you to desires, frustrations, and all that which is there in the human weaknesses, human vices. he commits wrongs, wrongs after wrongs, wrongs after wrongs. So this animal consciousness will not allow a man to live in peace. So that is how why the culture has come into our existence from ancient times, to culture the mind to goodness, to bring him back to the path of law.
So that is the first stage.
That is the first stage, is the animal consciousness, the lawlessness ranges in the mind. When a man turns himself into an animal and commits all sins.
All like that's understood.
The second stage in which he turns is when he is cultured, his mind is tamed, he is shown what is wrong, what is right. There is strictness around him. He becomes his own policeman. He controls his own self. That consciousness is referred to as nafs lawwama. Which tells him this is right, this is wrong. This is a moral consciousness. The courage of conviction that you shall not, you should hold. When he commits a mistake, he realizes, I did a wrong. He feels guilty about it. So this is the second stage. The third is nafs mutmainna. That is when he has entered the path of goodness and turns away from the evil. When an evil thought comes, he says, no, I shall not do it. I'll always remain to the strictness. I'll follow the path. He has taken oath of allegiance on the Sufi master and says, I will keep my master in my mind and heart.
Right.
So when he keeps the master in the mind and heart, he learns a lesson. He learns a particular lesson which is known as muraqaba. This is concentration. He has to have a deep concentration and dedication in his mind and heart, that he will not at all be wavered, unwavering stand he will take.
Right.
So that is the master teaches him muraqaba.
Okay.
Then he comes to the stage of mujahida. That is, a prophet, when he returned from a war, he said, the greater war, the greater jihad is against your own self. So you should cut down all your ego, ahankara, pride. So Prophet
jealousy,
said, jealousy.
Selfishness.
So jealousy is the first offense which Satan committed. So these things will distract totally and destroy a person. It will take away the peace of mind. He will be totally led to astray. So the Prophet mentioned, even if you have a grain of pride in your heart, you will not enter heaven at all. So whether he is a Muslim or whether he is a Sufi or whether he is a Salik, whatever may be his stage, but if he has even a grain of pride that I am better than my neighbor who is a Christian or a Jew or a Hindu or anybody else, that is end of his. He should attain the stage of humility and simplicity. So only then he has become a true Salik. Then the journey begins. The journey begins. When the Mujahida starts, now every minute, every second, he remembers the Lord. So he starts having the concentration, breathing exercises, and he keeps on repeating the name of the Lord. So that conditions the mind to bring him nearest to the Lord.
Japa.
Japa is that is meditation. So Mujahida, Muraqaba, Mujahida are the two principal methods by which he has to lead himself to the nearness to the God. God says, I am near than your jugular vein. I am in your heart. I am in your mind. Search for me. It will be interesting at this stage to tell you that in the Red Hills, Arunachalam, lived in the last century, a great Hindu saint, Ramana Maharishi.
Yes, very well.
When people went to him, he was not idle worship. He was a young man itself. He had deep concentration, sit down in penance for days and days. So when people used to go to him, he said, search yourself, put a question, who are you?
Who are you?
Where have you come from? So that will lead you to the path of truth. So Paul Brunton, when a British came to him, Maharaja of Mysore met him in London and invited him. He has written Search in India, Search in Sacred India. That is his book.
He has written.
He introduced.
What is the last stage where?
So this seeker, he goes through various aspects of his mental evolution to attain the purity. He has to learn good manners, and every minute he should think of the Lord. The moment he is distracted, the Lord begins to speak to him. You have again distracted from my path. So he receives some admonitions, warnings. His heart and mind is able to know that he is already leaving a path away from the God. He begins to concentrate and go back to the Lord.
ವೇಷರಾಗಗಳಿಲ್ಲ ಲೋಭಮೆನಗಿಲ್ಲ ಮೋಹಮದ ಮಾತ್ಸರ್ಯ ಭಾವಮೆನಗಿಲ್ಲ ವೇಷರಾಗ ಭಾವಗಳಿಲ್ಲ ಲೋಭಮೆನಗಿಲ್ಲ ಮೋಹ ಮದ ಮಾತ್ಸರ್ಯ ಭಾವಮೆನಗಿಲ್ಲ ಧರ್ಮಾರ್ಥ ಕಾಮಾದಿ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ನಾನಲ್ಲ ಧರ್ಮಾರ್ಥ ಕಾಮಾದಿ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ನಾನಲ್ಲ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವನಾನು ನಾನು.
ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರದತ್ತ ಮಾಲಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ಸೂಫಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸೈಯದ್ ಲ್ಯಾಕಾತ್ ಪೀರಾನ್ ಅವರ ಅನುಭವದ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿದಿರಿ. ಇವರೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದವರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಜಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಿಂಗ್. ಶ್ರೋತೃಗಳೇ, ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮುಂದಿನ ಭಾಗ ಮುಂದಿನ ವಾರ ಇದೇ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಸಾರ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇವೆ.
साक्षात् परब्रह्म